And by the way, speaking of yoga, I found 4 huge international studies with evidence that yoga, certain poses, certain exercises, specifically in yoga, as yoga therapy, it's described in 4 studies. If you want, I can send you those links later. And they prove that they took a group of women who were just doing physical exercises. Another group, which was specifically doing yoga, showed a 7-fold improvement in effect. That is, the number of hot flashes, vasomotor symptoms, depressive states, and so on decreased. That is, to what extent is it? It gently brought our entire endocrine system into harmony. So, and I had some thought about the adrenal glands. It just came to me. So something flashed by and then it slipped away. I'll remember it. I'll remember and tell you. Well, basically, like that. Even in the evidence base, yes, I was really happy that these studies are actually being conducted.
I read studies about how they took 2 groups of people with the same symptoms and the same conditions. One group lived as usual, while the other group included a specific set of exercises. So based on this research, they studied which specific exercises have an impact on the reproductive system. So in yoga therapy, yoga has been taught in different countries. And it's very interesting to go through the research that there are special exercises, for example, for asthmatics. Yes, there are special ones for the spine. There are special ones for normalizing blood pressure and so on. And there are exercises for the endocrine system and the reproductive functions of women. And we have a very large online school for hormonal yoga, and women, and probably 80%, 70% of women who come with these signs throws itself into the tides, and so heat and so on. And it helps to get rid of. Next, one of the first results we see when a woman comes to me is, this is approximately what I want to get nervous about. I have to compose myself, not like I did before, until 5 or 10. The first thing that improves is sleep, and the hot flashes go away. They decrease at first during the day, then at night, and then completely. Well, it varies for everyone. For some, it happens right away. For others, it's gradual. And some even experience a bit of a setback where it gets worse, but then it quickly passes. So apparently those who are starting out, the pituitary gland doesn't understand what is expected of it with the ovaries. Yeah, then suddenly everything gets normalized. Yes, yes, yes. A very good result. That's so nice. And right now, an hour before the webinar, I saw a gynecologist. I go for tests every 2 weeks. I do tests once a year. I do a checkup, and my gynecologist looks at me and says, your body is younger than your physical age. What are you doing? I said, I do yoga, and she replied, I want to join you for yoga. It was so nice, and she's already a grandmother. I've been going to her for a long time, and she's already a grandmother. And I felt so happy. I thought how wonderful it is when this, let's say, yoga therapy, psychosomatic issues, psychology, art therapy, everything related to our psycho-emotional background, and Western medicine finally starting to collaborate. Yes, because that's how we...
Yes, it's very... Yes, it's a joy.
Yes, okay, Natalia, thank you. Of course, Natalia, very interesting. There are a few questions here. Go, girls. The first question is about hot flashes. Here's a girl writing. She described all the symptoms that you mentioned. Yes, Elena is writing. Hot flashes are really tormenting me. I'm sweating from my nose. I'm all red, wet. How can I help myself? Your point of response? So how old are you? How old is Elena? It's not written. Elena wrote, if you're listening to us, it's not written, right? And I think she's writing, yes, and she's also writing, can weight loss worsen or exacerbate the condition? 49 here, Lena replied.
Look, so about weight, that's definitely 100% information. There is confirmed evidence-based data that a body mass index over 30 indicates obesity, which is a risk factor for severe hot flashes. Hot flashes are classified into mild, moderate, and severe. Up to 10 times a day, that's mild. 10, 20 is moderate, more than 20 is severe. So weight loss, and the body mass index, when it changes by at least 30%, the severity of hot flashes decreases, and the number of hot flashes reduces. So if there is excess body weight, of course, the first thing to do is to focus on weight loss. This will definitely be a plus, definitely, just good. So this is a decrease. It's a decrease, no? In both the number and severity. So a hot flash can last from a few seconds to 3 to 4 minutes. And hot flashes can last for 2 to 3 years, or they can go on for 10 years. So it's really very difficult. They can happen once a day or once a month. These are different degrees of severity and quality of life. So if severe hot flashes, they are frequent, of course, we need to reduce it. The first thing to do is to lose weight. This is definitely the second thing. It's correction of hypodynamia and fatigue, meaning that physical activity is definitely necessary. And the first recommendation, we're talking about modification. That's what I discuss with my patients. The first thing I talk about regarding lifestyle modification is I ask how we eat, how we sleep, and what physical activities we do. A review of the body mass index, we measure the circumference, looking at abdominal obesity and so on. And it's work on yourself. It's very hard. By the way, I had a patient yesterday, 51 years old, suffering from hot flashes. And here's the thing. I suggested lifestyle modification to her. I offered yoga because she's afraid of hormones. Basically, she's scared. She doesn't want to.
Yes, it's scary.
So I sent her to, it's scary. And she has some relative contraindications there. So I wouldn't prescribe it to her. Well, there are issues like smoking and so on. So she comes back after 3 months and says, I haven't done anything, but I feel even worse. She tells me, don't prescribe hormones. I say, listen, well, let's focus on this. You need to work on it. So she tells me, you need to work on this. I don't have time. I have more to do. I have a husband. I have children. Then I won't get a bonus for yoga. I don't have time for the pool. I don't have time for therapy, for meditation, and so on. So this work is definitely work on oneself, but it should be enjoyable. I believe that this is a marker. This should be it. What kind of prevention of serious diseases is this? If we are now, I also tell my patients, especially young girls, that they need to prepare not just for pregnancy, because we have the concept of preparing for pregnancy. Everyone has already gotten used to it. And we all know that, well, the majority, yes, we have a good one. Nowadays, young people are so aware. They come in and say, I want to prepare for pregnancy. And I immediately ask them, don't you want to prepare for menopause? Because that's important too. You not only need to prepare for pregnancy, but you should also prepare for the 2 important periods in your life. This is preparation. Pregnancy and preparation for menopause. Because the way you enter menopause is how it will flow. Because there are also studies that show that women who enter the pregnancy healthy, gynecologically are healthy emotionally, in good body weight, in good cognitive, psychological mood, they generally experience menopause much easier, much more simply, and they have fewer diseases overall associated with menopause. Cancer, arterial hypertension, cognitive disorders, and so on. And women who enter menopause carry a lot with them. Obesity, hypodynamia, depressive states related to some conditions, diseases, stress, adrenal fatigue, everything else, they of course go through it harder. So you need to prepare for menopause. This is also a certain thing. Well, smoking, I don't know. For me, smoking is just so, I tell the girls, young ones, listen, why are you smoking? After all, that's 3 years earlier for you to hit menopause, 3 years, and the quality of the eggs decreases. Fertility decreases, everything decreases. Don't smoke, at least start with that. Yes. Physical activity is a must because hypoadrenia is stress for the adrenal glands. Everyone who has hypoadrenia has adrenal insufficiency. That's also, a sign, right? So how can we help? Well, it depends on how long the hot flashes have been going on, whether there's menstruation or not. Sometimes it's possible. Well, of course, when it's really a difficult condition. Well, and up to that, before this, I had patients who didn't have time to recover. They have this. Apathy, depression, and even to the point of wanting to jump out of a window. There are such cases. So we even prescribe them antidepressants, although I'm not a big fan of antidepressants because it's a deception for the body. But to save them, during this period, to help them recover at least the overall condition, the quality of life. Yes, emergency help. And then we start working on recovery, harmonizing the entire internal state, physical activity, and they gradually improve. But this is work. Yes, it's work on yourself. But this is the only investment in yourself. You need to invest in yourself. But how else? Because at this age, like I am now, the child has grown up and you're working more steadily. You've settled in, so you don't need to make any career moves. Just focus on yourself. And during this time, it's really important to pay a lot of attention to yourself. Well, that's my position, like that.
And I'll add a little more about that. In addition to nutrition, you also need to balance your hormonal background because when we're in a fight, you're working, you can see something with the glands, we're under stress. Of course, insulin, yes. And if a woman adjusts her diet and practices hormonal yoga, I always emphasize hormonal women's yoga because, for example, with excess weight, regular yoga won't work. And there are specific features even in the exercises. As I mentioned, there are exercises for asthmatics or for the back, and then there's hormonal yoga. Yes. Why? We balance the hormonal background, the woman calms down because we are affecting the parasympathetic nervous system, and the weight also starts to gradually go away. Even just a little by including clear aggressors. Some things, like pastries or fried foods, add more fruits and vegetables to dumplings, not even fruit, but vegetables and some broth, and you'll already see good results. So when it comes to weight, yes.
And plus, I would also add from the perspective of nutraceuticals, yes, vitamin D. We definitely look at it, read about vitamin D deficiency and weight. Vitamin D deficiency stimulates insulin resistance. Insulin doesn't allow our glucose to be properly absorbed. Everything goes to fat. So we definitely check vitamin D, and if there's a deficiency, we adjust vitamin D. We check iron deficiency, we adjust iron. We definitely add myoinositol. So I definitely add myoinositol to the scheme. We check vitamin B12. If there's a deficiency of vitamin B12, we definitely restore it. Well, and liver, yes, liver. This is our oven, the one that carries out detoxification, and a lot of proteins are produced there. Proteins that carry hormones. And if there's too much or too little protein, it will also disrupt the function. So everything related to the liver should also be monitored. Doing detoxes like this, yes, of course. Well, in my practice, of course, I also prescribe hormonal therapy because there are situations when, well, it is really necessary. That is very much so, at least for, as emergency help, it is needed here. And very good results too, including here. But as they say, these are still medications and you have to be very careful with them. Carefully control and everything else. So here, and in general, one doesn't interfere with the other. Actually, yes.
Natalia, there are a couple more questions here. We can answer them briefly. Yes, to make sure. Our timing will fit and won't leave anyone without attention. Girls. Hello, I have a Mirena IUD due to endometrial hyperplasia. The period accordingly doesn't really come out, but often a fluid of a light color comes out. Is that normal?
The fluid is light in color, meaning it's spotting. Well, like this, if yes, let's say if it's spotting and it happens monthly, then that's normal. It's a kind of menstrual-like reaction, just spotting. Yes, that's normal. If the discharge isn't related to the cycle, then we need to take a closer look there. Maybe there's some bacterial vaginitis or something like that. This needs to be looked at. But in general, we need to pay attention to the Mirena and the absence of anything from the tract. We really need to check that. You need to keep an eye on it, but overall, if there's just a little drop every month, that's fine. That's an acceptable option. It's normal, yes. But if it's spotting, yeah, you need to keep an eye on it. You really do. Mirena? Yes, it's a good thing. I love Mirena. For treatment, yes. For treating hyperplasia and so on.
Thank you. The next question. What indicators determine the level of adrenal function during premenopause?
Again, we can look at DGS, we can look at cortisol, we can look at ACTH. These are the hormones that stimulate the production of cortisol, DHEA, and so on. Basically, these are the hormones we look at. We look at DHEA, and we can also check total testosterone. By the way, yes. Glamulin, binding steroids, DHEA, PG, DHEA, ACTH, cortisol, those kinds of things. We definitely need to check testosterone too, dihydrotestosterone. But, there's something else that's important to understand. It's important to understand that sex, steroids, hormones, we need to take a look, although it's not a validated method, in the saliva. So there's the steroid profile in saliva. It's better to look at that because what we check in the blood is through an enzyme analysis. Sometimes they are not entirely adequate. Currently, the steroid profile in saliva is considered to be more informative as it is taken from saliva for analysis. Well, actually, these are the hormones we look at, right?
The next question, about blood clots, especially at the end of menstruation and spotting, what does that indicate? The periods themselves are regular at 45 years old.
If you're 45 years old, with heavy menstruation at the end, there are clots. Well, we need to rule out any pathology inside the uterine cavity to a greater extent. Endometrial hyperplasia, polyp adenomyosis, endometriosis. These kinds of conditions need to be ruled out. It could be a submucosal fibroid of the uterus. You need to get an ultrasound, definitely. Check and rule things out. And at 45 years old, most likely, there's already a deficiency of progesterone in the second phase of the cycle, which is the first to go. And when there's a deficiency of progesterone in the second phase of the cycle, the endometrium doesn't grow properly. And that's why the rejection isn't quite right. And this rejection isn't quite adequate, leading to such heavy periods or more abundant menstruation, even bleeding and discharge of clots, because the blood vessels are spasming incorrectly to stop the bleeding. So you definitely need to go get checked. This could be a sign of intrauterine pathology. Exactly.
Now here's another question. How can one stop taking Femoston? After taking Femoston for 4 months, menstruation started after the first month of taking it. Femoston approximately 1 to 10.
Oh, Femoston 1, right? So there were no periods, then they prescribed something and the menstruation came back. But you also need to consider the age. But the idea that you have to specially wean off all hormonal medications is actually a myth. Actually, you just stop taking it, that's all. That is, you finish the last pack and then don't start the next one. And that's it. So this is such a mechanism, discontinuation, stopping the intake. So it's better not to stop specifically in the middle phase of the pills. If there is a period, but if there is no menstruation, you can stop taking them at any time and there won't be any menstrual-like reactions. So here, just don't drink. How to leave. But what I mean is how to leave, how to measure it. Did I understand the question correctly?
Probably right, yeah. I think that's what was meant. Yes. Of course, it's good when you understand what's happening with your body. Let's put it this way. I say it's important to take care of yourself. It's important to have a checkup once a year. We check and take tests just to understand if everything is okay, and what if there's already some kind of malfunction to prevent at an early stage using basic treatment methods. Yes, there might be an injury, maybe in some immobile issues, hormones, but at some minimal doses, or go through a certain course to maintain your health, rather than letting everything reach some points of no return. So make sure to take care of yourself, stay active. I don't even know what to do with those who will ask questions later. Natalia, can we reach out to you if we have questions that we didn't get to ask during the broadcast? Because I think one way or another, this will take a very long time. If I'm going to read everything out loud. Questions?
Well, yes. Of course, I'll be happy to answer yes. Of course, you can, however you want. I can also write it down, in a little circle. You can actually write in little circles. I think that's convenient. I can write a little circle for each question. I can write it down. Well, however you say, whatever is convenient, I'll be happy to answer, of course. I have this mission. I believe that there's some kind of mission as a gynecologist. I really want, like that. I want there to be more healthy, beautiful women and happy, fulfilled. But still, I understand myself that after 45, for some reason, there are fewer of these women. Everything was fine, and then just like that, well, here's what I think. I believe I really spend a lot of time. I had a patient who I talked to for an hour and a half. We just talked. It was like a kind of psychotherapy, and that's really important. And when she comes in, the patient then says, oh, and everything has gotten better for me. Life has gotten better. It's wonderful. There are no hot flashes, a common vein. It's divine. It's like that. It's then that you understand that you didn't work for this life at all. You lived, that your mission is being realized in this way. And just like that, one more woman has become happier. That's just wonderful. I'm really happy to answer any questions here. If there's something I can do, if I can somehow, shift something from a certain point, like charge it up. Yes, that energy, I'm really eager to help so that we have more harmony. I feel this because I often, due to my profession, I get a lot of girls reaching out to me with some new situations that are unfamiliar to me. There was more harmony for us.
I feel this because I very often, due to my profession, a lot of girls reach out to me with some new situations that are unfamiliar to me. I constantly attend various, training sessions, presentations by doctors, researchers, and so on. And so when I was listening to you, I actually have goosebumps down my spine. You put so much into it. You speak about it all with such love. We have a very similar vision regarding certain processes because there is really classical medicine where there's no yoga. It's harder to lift your arms. You can't turn your neck widely.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, that kind of flexible attitude. Yes, and I'm very grateful to you for our broadcast today. I hope all the girls enjoyed it as much as I did. I have tears in my eyes right now. I think they're about to come. Because in fact, it's very pleasant. You are incredibly beautiful. You tell everything in such an interesting way with so much love. You talked about such interesting moments. Well, I even, understood. I'll show all of this. I wasn't in a hurry today. Wow. I wasn't in a hurry to catch up with you. Thank you. Because today we brought up a very popular topic. I told you, yes, that our girls come in. Ovarian exhaustion and hot flashes are definitely the main issues. Yes, with fibroids, endometriosis, it's clear almost everyone has it now, about 90%, yes. Even if it's just to a small extent. But the biggest pain, of course, is ovarian exhaustion and hot flashes. Because young girls, they work, they take care of themselves, they want to live, they still want to have children. And here comes this insecurity. I had this realization today that progesterone is the hormone of self-esteem, yes. And the thing is, young, beautiful women come in, but they have no strength. Just over 40, and that's it. I have no strength. I don't want anything. Everything hurts. Nothing helps. I'm sitting there on therapy, on antidepressants, and so on. And of course, I want to help the girls so that they shine and smile, and they look so wonderful, yes. And of course, it happens. It energizes you. It energizes you when we are in the company of healthy, happy women. Well, and people in general.
Yes.
That's what
I agree. Thank you so much, Marina. Yes, I get energized from you. We have this mutual charge, right? I really, I believe, even though I'm a classic doctor, but I understand from T1, it's important when you understand how all the techniques work. What are the ones you provide? Because I'm also, so to speak, your follower, yes. And I believe that as I understand it, yes, I don't just believe, but I understand how it works. That's what's important. I'm grateful to you for bringing this. Also, yes, what you bring, what you broadcast, what you teach, super important, yes. So it's nice that we are doing such a good thing. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you, Natalia, very much. So we will say goodbye to the girls now. We'll stay in touch. So thank you very much, my dear girls. There were a lot of us today. Everyone was active. There were many questions in the chat, and I think there were even more, but not everyone understood where to write in the chat, right? So we'll stay in touch with you in the Telegram channel. Of course, we will answer everyone. So make sure to get regular checkups. Definitely monitor your health, adjust your nutrition, and get screened on time. Yes, regularly. To know that everything is okay with you and to help yourself. And of course, lower your stress levels, practice yoga, love yourself, pay attention to yourself, pamper yourself, and stay healthy. My wonderful ones. We're saying goodbye now. Natalia, thank you so much once again. I am incredibly happy. Thank you. I hope it's mutual and the girls like this topic too. There was a lot of interesting stuff. So until we meet again.
Until we meet again. Thank you. Thank you.
All best.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Today I already shared that I went to the gynecologist. The doctor is already a grandmother, such an older woman, and she said that my test results are like those of a younger person. The results are younger than my physical age. She asks, what are you doing? I said, I'm doing yoga. She says, I want to come to your yoga class. And for me, it's always very joyful. What? The world is awakening. The world is awakening, and more people are starting to think about themselves, to care about their emotional well-being. Without any shoulds, musts, or not having time, I just am. I want to be happy. I want to enjoy every day and give love to myself and my loved ones. So girls, I wish you love. I wish you strong health. I wish you a state of being wholeness so that you smile every day and share your smiles with your loved ones. I'm hugging you, girls.